holding it down. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for our keynote address, and it is by someone who is a strong advocate for Bitcoin and open source protocols. This man is the head, the chairman, and the co-founder of Block. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we bring up on stage our keynote address. Joining us virtually, Mr. Jack Dorsey.
Cool, you hear me?
Jack, if you could hear us, please unmute your mic.
Yep, you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Cool. Well, thank you for having me. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I'll see hopefully a lot of you tomorrow and over the next few days. I think the best use of this time is probably a question and answer rather than presenting something to you. It's just answering any questions you all might have. And would love to hear also what you're working on, just to get a flavor of what everyone cares about. So maybe we can go around the room and ask for questions, and I'm happy to provide thoughts on everything that comes up.
Okay. This is a very awkward position. Who has questions? I think that's the more important one. I mean, this is a rare opportunity being presented to us. Opportunity when met with preparation is luck, and we are lucky to be here. So if you have a question for Mr. Jack, kindly raise your hand. Questions relating to, I believe, development, starting something, changing pathways, moving on to other things. If you have any questions relating to your career, I advise generally anyone you want, now is your chance. Anybody? Oh, awesome. We have someone here.
Yeah, so there's a platform called Btrust where you get to learn about Solana and Ethereum. So I've had a lot of challenges with the Solana path where I get errors, and the community for Solana, sometimes people are very quiet. So are there communities out there where you can get help when you run into errors, or what is the best approach as a developer? And also you can share on how your path has been like. Yeah.
So I think sorry, Jack, can I just do that? I think his question is basically someone, he's making reference to the Solana economy and how if they run into errors, they have communities that they can meet. But in the Bitcoin space, as developers, when we try to code on our own and we run into challenges, where are the places that we could go for answers and where are the places that we could go for correction? Jack, over to you.
Yeah. I don't really follow any of the communities other than Bitcoin, so I can't really answer your questions on Solana. And the reason why is I'm in this space because I believe the internet needs an open protocol for transmitting money across the internet, and I think Bitcoin is the best solution for that based on the properties it has. There's not one person controlling Bitcoin. It's developed through this consensus model. It can't be corrupted by any one particular individual or government or organization, company. And that's what I would want from a currency. I would want an open protocol, not all that dissimilar from HTTP or FTP or SMTP for what we use for email. So I want something open, transparent, doesn't have one leader, doesn't have one entity that can take it into a direction, only fulfilling its goals and its agenda. In terms of community around what you're building, I think, the best start is open source, because you have access to all this code and you have access to people who are working on it. And then there's going to be various places where you can find those people and find their attention, whether that be the repositories like GitHub, or meetups like this. I think is a phenomenal place. But I think the best is putting something out there and putting it out publicly and getting feedback, letting people come to you because the idea is interesting. Work on something that's really interesting to you that keeps you up at night, and put it out there, and be open to feedback and criticism and contribution from others, and you'll build tons of community, because they want to help with the idea that you started or that you're working on or that you're passionate about. So I would always let the ideas lead, and you'll find community around that. And if there's something that you really care about that others are quiet about at the moment, it's probably okay because they just don't know the value of it just yet. But if it's valuable to you, and it's so valuable that you want to continue pushing it, it's probably going to be valuable to someone else over time. It just may not be immediately. So you might just require a little bit more patience.
Awesome. Thank you for that. If you listen to his last statement, he said, if there's something you care about and others are quiet about, then it is on you to actually do what? Start talking about it. Awesome. We have a question from, hi, please have the mic, and also please be standing. Novo, yes.
All right. Hi. I wonder what you think Africa should be focusing on with regards to Bitcoin. What we should be trying to improve, what we should be trying to build, just how it looks from your point of view.
Yeah. But I think I've only achieved success by trying to solve my own problems and try to build things that I want to use. So I don't think you should take advice from anyone outside your space and your community, because they don't have the context for the problems around you, and certainly they don't have the context for your desires or your wants. So anything you hear anyone say on what you should do, I would take with a grain of salt. I think the thing that's always helped me is like, what am I facing every day? What do I want to build? What feels like electric when I'm working on it? And how do I best apply myself to that? So I think just by being open to like, what are the biggest problems facing you or your community or your family or friends right now, and is there a technology that you can use to help solve that? And it doesn't have to be Bitcoin. It doesn't have to be like whatever is trendy right now. It doesn't have to be AI. It's just like focusing on the actual problem that you're trying to solve, and then figuring out what technologies are most useful to solve for that. More broadly, I think the more people we have around the world working to make Bitcoin more accessible, make it more secure, and make it more usable every day, those three categories help everyone, and certainly help Bitcoin help everyone in the world. So there's a bunch of projects within those three buckets, making it more accessible. There's a lot of design thinking that's missing in Bitcoin. We don't have a lot of designers working in Bitcoin right now, and because of that, it's not the most accessible thing, and not a lot of people can use it because of that. Second, making it more secure, building more non-custodial wallets, for instance, or more ways to manage keys, making it just much more easier for people to make their Bitcoin secure and have peace of mind around holding it. And then third is making it more usable every day. How do we actually make it feel like currency, where I can imagine buying a coffee with it, or buying daily needs or weekly needs or monthly needs with it? So each one of those things have tons of projects and problems that are there. But don't go after the biggest ones. Go after the ones that resonate the most with you and that you actually care about the most and you think you can have impact on. Because that's going to start broadening like the space, and it will actually help you create value not only for yourself but for other people as well. You've got to have that interest and you've got to have that passion before anything else.
Thank you very much, Jack. Now we're having questions. Hold on. Let's go one by one. We have someone at the back over here. Thank you.
Good day, Jack. My question is a bit personal. My name is Raphael, Btrust Developer. I also have interest in building a social media, and I'm also interested in Bitcoin and a whole lot of other stuffs. So I just want to ask how you balance these stuffs. I know you're working on Blue Sky, and you're still involved in the whole of Bitcoin thing. So I just want to know how you balance everything and keep your interest together. That's my question.
Yeah. Well, my interest is purely because I love these tools and I want to make them accessible to as many people as possible. We kicked off Blue Sky, but I'm not working on Blue Sky anymore. I'm really focused on and working on a protocol called Nostr, Nostr. And the reason why is that I feel it's a lot more open than Blue Sky. Blue Sky is predominantly funded by a corporation now that has investors. And Nostr feels a lot more like Bitcoin, where there's no one particular lead. And the developer ecosystem around it is pretty amazing. So if you're working on your own social media, I would say maybe look at some of these common projects like Nostr and build on top of that. Because the more people we have building on common protocols, the greater probability we have for success. And anyone who makes Nostr better from a social media perspective, anyone who's working on Nostr, they get better because of that as well. So just like Bitcoin, if you're working to make Bitcoin better and you have another company or another person that's working on Bitcoin, everyone gets better because of what that individual is doing or what that company is doing. So it kind of raises all the boats at once, which is pretty amazing. So look for common protocols to do that. And the ones I'm most interested in right now are obviously Bitcoin and Nostr, because I think they have the most attributes that I've seen from a pattern matching perspective for actually winning and for actually lasting and for actually creating something of true value for people.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that. If you listen to what he also said, he said the more people we have building, the higher the probability of success. Mr. Abubakar, we have a question here.
Yeah, I have a question for Jack. So over the last year, I've been working on Bitcoin Core, mostly improving fee estimation. So last week, I have talked to Sankit, who is working at Square. He said that you have your own fee estimation algorithm. So I was curious whether the work that I am currently doing to make every node runner be able to estimate fees on his own without relying on third party is useful to Square.
100%. I mean, it's not just useful to Square Block, but useful to the entire network and everyone working on Bitcoin. So first of all, thanks for working on Core. There's a lot of tough problems. It's not for everyone. But if you can do it, incredible. We all benefit from it. But there's so many pieces to the puzzle. And Bitcoin is only going to get more and more attention. The thing about the price right now, we just hit this $100,000 US target. All that really is like people believe in it, right? The larger that number goes, the more that number goes up, the more people who have a vested interest in its success, and the more people that actually believe in its future. So what's interesting about Bitcoin is you can buy this Bitcoin and you can work on it as a core developer, and it's kind of like equity in the company. As you make it better, Bitcoin increases in value because more and more people believe in it, and they're also buying in similar ways. So it's this very, very, very free market way of building a life for yourself and choosing a different path that's not dependent upon a corporation granting you permission to do work or to receive effectively equity in compensation for that. And it's pretty cool that actually continues to work, and it continues to have this trend and pattern. And fee estimates and so many other things are just parts of the puzzle that we all need and we all benefit from. So anything that you can do, any interest that you have, and as I said before, what matters most is you have passion for it. If you have passion for it, everything else takes care of itself. As you build that into the network and into the system, the value of Bitcoin rises, and we all benefit from that.
Awesome. Thank you. If you have passion for it, everything takes care of itself. Hi. Your question, please.
Jack, some would say that during your time with Twitter, you won in the fiat world. Was there a particular time or moment that made you realize where the penny dropped, or should I say the Satoshi dropped, and you realized this decentralized money is the way to go?
It wasn't about decentralized money. I mean, I read their white paper when it came out on Halloween in 2008. It was more about just decentralized. It just feels like that's more of the way nature works. But certainly the internet went from more decentralized to centralized, and Google and Facebook and Twitter were all ways of centralizing the decentralized internet. And Bitcoin provided a nudge back towards decentralization for a problem that was extremely hard for civilization, which was how do you decentralize money, and how do you do it in such a way that there's no double spending and you're not relying upon a government or a bank to validate that there's no double spending. That's the problem that Bitcoin solved ultimately, right? Boring as it is, it creates all these opportunities to create something new. And it's not just it's not just about the money. You can apply those concepts to everything. And we're seeing, a great challenge right now is, information is a big one in terms of centralized or decentralized. Money is a big one, and intelligence, what we're seeing with AI today, being predominantly centralized into a few companies, to me is pretty concerning. That you have 5 or 6 CEOs, mainly in the U.S., who have control over intelligence and control over how the answers we get from our questions, and who contributes those answers, and what those answers are, and how those answers dictate our responses and our actions. That feels pretty scary, pretty concerning. So that's where open source comes in, and that's where decentralization comes in, back towards local communities, back towards local empowerment, and really having the intelligence on the ground where you are, instead of being tied up into this American corporation. That feels like an older model, but they'll keep trying it because it's the easier model. Decentralization is a very, very hard problem to solve in a way that scales, but obviously folks have figured it out, and Bitcoin is probably the largest scale example of that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Yes, we have figured it out. Next question.
Cool. Hello. So yeah, sorry to move away from Bitcoin and tech, but I'd like to ask this question. What's your favorite song on the new Kendrick Lamar album?
Man in the Garden.
Sorry, we didn't hear that, Jack.
Man in the Garden?
Man in the Garden, Jack's favorite song on the new Kendrick Lamar album.
It's incredible.
Probably make it my ringtone after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're taking one final question from someone who has worked with Jack for over 3 years. Please put your hands together as we bring up on stage Carla.
Hi, Jack. Thank you for the applause. I wasn't expecting that. We've just come out of the Btrust gathering for the last 2 days, and we've spoken a lot, just like you said, about the importance of both businesses and open source projects coming out of Africa and the global south. I wonder if you could give a little bit of advice for the entrepreneurs and developers who are looking to kickstart these projects, because it's often very difficult to see how much use they'll get or how important they'll be at the beginning, and that bootstrapping phase is really challenging.
Yeah. I don't know if there's one general answer to that question. I've started so many things that ended up being completely irrelevant and I've had to put away. But and that can feel bad if you don't realize that. If you don't learn from it. Like I think that's really the main function of success is like everything I do is going to teach me something, right? I can make that decision. And that means every failure I have, every mistake I make, every bit of rejection I experience from others, all of it, I can either choose to learn something from it or not. And if I don't learn something from it, I'm going to be diminished by it. And that compounds, and eventually that will probably dissuade me from doing new things. But if I instead choose to learn from everything, like every single thing I have in front of me, every experience I have, every person I meet, every question I receive, every answer I get back is a teacher, and it's trying to teach me something, and it's up to me whether or not I learn from it. That mindset just carries with it this like invincible set of experience where I can take that and then keep building it into the next thing and next thing and next thing, and eventually one of them hits. And it's just having that mindset of everything is trying to teach me something, and I decide whether I learn from it or not, and then some patience, because it will hit over time if you're focused and you're determined, and again, like you're learning it. I think if there's one skill that you would focus on, it's not programming, it's not communication, it's not being able to polish your resume or your skill level. It's really about learning, and it's a decision ultimately. Am I deciding to learn from this moment or not? And if I don't, that's a decision I made, and I shouldn't regret it. But if I do decide that, you'll be able to carry all those lessons into whatever the next thing is. And again, like one of them will strike and one of them will hit. It may be small, that compounds into something much larger. It might be much bigger than you're expecting in a surprising way. But in either case, you decided to learn from it, and you now own it. And I think that's the best we can all hope for in any of these things that we're just beginning, or even if we're joining something much larger than ourselves. Just focus on learning, focus on deciding to learn from it.
Thank you so much for your answer and for your insights, for everyone's questions. I think on behalf of Btrust and ABC, I'd really like to thank you for your continued support for the African Bitcoin ecosystem. We're very proud to have you as someone we're associated with. And on a Btrust standpoint, we have 5 African developers and a few businesses that have already spun out of what we're doing here. So we're really looking forward to see what the people in this room will do with this technology and with the opportunity that is afforded by open source. So thank you, Jack. That's our time. And thank you, everyone, for being here.
Amazing. Then I'll see you all over the next few days.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes. Thank you.
Price, emotional stability, a sound body and tranquility.
There it is.
I just